Morning, friends. Welcome to math. This week, we're going to talk a little bit more about money, and you will also be taking a money assessment one of the small group meeting times, not small group meeting times, one of your meeting times with Mrs. Fields. You will do it all together. You'll take the money assessment. So before that, we are going to review some money. We're going to talk today about the dollar bill and go from there. So I will present my screen. I hope you guys all had a good weekend. And here we go. So money. Here's all the coins that we talked about last week. And now we're talking about the dollar. Let's go. All right. I want you to turn your brains on, wake them up so that you're ready to refresh your brain to talk about money. So 1 penny is worth 1 cent. On the front of our penny, we have Abraham Lincoln, and on the back of the penny, we have the Lincoln Memorial, and it also says 1 cent. It's the only one that's copper in color, but most of the times on a test or an assessment, since the copy is in black and white and not in color, you won't be able to see that it's copper in color. So it's good to know what Abraham Lincoln looks like, just in case the paper that you're looking at doesn't have color. So Abraham Lincoln, Lincoln Memorial, 1 penny is worth 1 cent. Then the nickel. 1 nickel is worth 5 cents. On the front of a nickel is Thomas Jefferson, and on the back of a nickel is Monticello, his mansion home that he used to live in. It also says 5 cents on the back. Now, when we count nickels, we count by 5. So count with me to $1 by 5s. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $1. There are 20 nickels in $1. All right, then we talked about dimes, and a dime is worth 10 cents. 1 dime equals 10 cents. On the front of our dime is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Some people also call him FDR because Franklin Delano Roosevelt is kind of a long name. So people shortened it to FDR. Means the same thing, same person. On the back is the olive branch, the torch, and the oak leaf or branch. 1 dime, 10 cents. Now, when you're counting dimes, you count by tens. So let's count by tens to $1. You ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, or $1. All right. Then on Friday, we talked about the quarter. Now, quarters and nickels look a lot alike. They both have an old man on them. They both have hair that looks like this, but it's really a wig. In case you didn't know, men a long time ago would wear wigs on their hair or their head. And so this is George Washington wearing a wig. So his wig looks a little bit different than Thomas Jefferson's wig. It says $quarter on the front, and then on the back, this one has an eagle, but it really varies. Quarters have lots of different things on the back, so you can't count on the eagle being able to tell you that, okay? Most important, though, is that it says $quarter. 1 quarter is worth 25 cents, and I did a little, let's see if this box will go away. Yes, there we go. On the bottom of your screen, I did kind of like a little cheat sheet, and the Q, you see all those letter Qs? That stands for quarter. So I said that if you have 1 quarter, it equals 25 cents. If you have 2 quarters, it equals 50 cents. If you have 3 quarters, it equals 75 cents. If you have 4 quarters, it equals $1. And then I go all the way up to 8 quarters. So if you have 8 quarters, you have $2. So if you at any point are working on something and you think that this table would be helpful, go back to this Google site and look at this. I told the in-person kids, because I wrote the same thing on the board for them, and they were still having a hard time figuring out how much 6 quarters would be. You always want to work smarter, not harder. So if there's a resource available to you, and by resource, I just mean something that could help you. So here, this table, this thing at the bottom of your screen, that's something that can help you. So if you're like, oh, I can't remember what 3/4 is. I don't really know what 25 plus 25 plus 25 is. Well, then come back here and look at the table. Use what's available to help you out. Don't struggle. Don't just sit there, think in your head, what is there in my life that can help me with this problem? What resource is available? Okay, you always want to be a proactive learner. That means that you ask questions when you have them. You don't just sit there wondering. You ask the questions, you figure out a solution to your problem. And that's the kind of learner I want each and every one of you to be. All right. This is $1. It says 1. Look who's on it. Our friend George. He's on the quarter and he's also on the dollar bill. It has ones all over it. It has ones in all four corners. So that tells us that $1 is worth $1. $1 is worth $1. So if I have two of these, this is the front and this is the back, then this picture shows $2. All right, I want you to take a minute. What's the value of this picture? How much money do I have? How much money do I have on this paper or on this slide? All right, on the count of 3, I want you to say it. 1, 2, 3, $4. $4. Perfect. Okay. I feel like we've been really good about counting just pennies or just nickels or just dimes. I had to change locations. All right, so I was saying that we have been really good about counting pennies. Like if we only have pennies, we've also been really good about counting nickels if we just have nickels. What gets a little bit hard is when you have lots of different kinds of coins, because your brain has to think, okay, I'm counting by tens if I have dimes. Oh, but wait, I also have nickels, so I also have to count by fives. Oh, but wait, I also have a quarter, that's 25, and I have pennies, which is 1. So it's tricky because your brain has to think, okay, counting by 25s, tens, 5, 1s. And so that's what we're going to be working on this week. Last week we worked a lot on just if we just had pennies, how much it would be worth. But this week I want to get really good at, what if I have 3 nickels and 5 pennies? Well, what does that equal? Okay, and also some story problems. Like if I have this much money, do I have enough money to buy a hamburger? All right, so here we go. Now remember, if I have money in my pocket and I pull it out and I have a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and a penny, I want to count the largest value coin first, all of them. So if I have 2 quarters, the value of that is the most, so I'm going to count that first. Okay? Always the biggest. So here we go. Oh, it's frozen. Here we go. So here on my screen, I have a quarter and 2 pennies. Well, a quarter is worth way more than a penny. So I'm going to start with my quarter. I know that 1 quarter is 25 cents, so I'm going to hold that number in my head, 25. And then I'm going to count on by ones because pennies are worth 1 cent. So it would look like this, 25, 26, 27. So on this slide, the value is 27 cents. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so this looks a little bit different. I see that there's a picture of a dime and there's a picture of a nickel. But above it, I see the number 4 and the number 2. So that means that I have 4 dimes and 2 nickels. So I first want to think in my head, if I had 4 dimes, how much money would I have? These options to the side are possible answers. So one of these is right. Okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, I know that a dime is 10 and a nickel is 5, so this is 15 cents. That's not a bad guess, but up above it says how many you have. So it can't be 15 cents because I know that I have 4 dimes and 2 nickels. So I'm going to first count by tens because I know that a dime is worth 10. Okay, so let's count. We're going to count up 4 fingers to figure out how many dimes are the value. 10, 20, 30, 40. All right, so I have 40 cents worth of dimes. I'm going to keep that in my head, 40. And now I'm going to count on by fives. I have 2 nickels, which are equal to 5. So 45, 50. So the total on this picture is 50 cents. That's harder, right? It is harder because your brain has to switch back and forth. All right, this one, I would highly encourage you to get out a piece of paper because sometimes you need a scratch piece of paper to work out a problem. So we're not going to do this one together. You're going to do this in your math notebook or your math journal. But here it is. I have exactly enough money to buy 1 hot dog. I have 1 quarter, so I would write that down in your journal. Maybe you draw a quarter. Maybe you know that 1 quarter is equal to 25 cents, so you write the 25 down. So I have 1 quarter, 2 dimes. So same thing, that's an important amount, and you want to write that on your paper. You want to keep track of that. 2 dimes. So maybe you write 10, 10 because you know that 1 dime equals 10, and if 2 dimes, that's another 10. Maybe you know what 2 dimes equals. 10, 20. So you write that down. And 4 pennies. Okay, so write that down. That's important information. How much does the hot dog cost? Okay, so I want you to tell me how much that hot dog costs. He has 1 quarter, 2 dimes, and 4 pennies. And this is the kind of money situation that you're going to run into all the time in your life. You want to buy something and you have to figure out, do I have enough money for that? Or I have this much money, I spent this much, how much do I have left? All right, so you will do that more than just counting coins, right? There's not many times in my life that I just pick up pennies and count them, but I do think about how much something is and if I have enough money all the time. All right, so remember, you can pause this if you're still working on it. You don't have to listen to the rest of the video if you're not done with this yet. Okay, so pause, and then when you're done solving this problem, press play again. All right, and then last but not least, I just want you to do a little self-check, right? We've talked a lot about money. We've talked about pennies and nickels, dimes, quarters, dollars. We just added up different amounts, collections of coins. And so I just want you to think, thumbs up, you're feeling good about money, or thumbs down, you're really feeling like you need some more work on it. Either one is fine. I just want you to do a little mental check. Which one? All right. Now you should have 1 practice page left. Now I sent home some other math activities that aren't the practice pages. So you had a penny practice page, you had a nickel practice page, a dime practice page, a quarter practice page, and then you should have 1 page left that has a mix of coins. So there's some pennies and some nickels and some dimes on it. That is the page that I want you to do now. So find that page and I want you to complete it. And I want you to write all your answers. I'm going to exit out. I want you to write all your answers using the $sign. Okay, so I don't want any more cents. If your answer for counting coins page is 25 cents, well then I want you to write $0 because I don't have any dollars in 25 cents, decimal point 25. That's how I want you to write all your answers. Okay, not 25 with the cent symbol. You will see money that looks like this way more than you will see it the other way. All right, back to present. So there we go. You're going to write your answers like this. And then after you finish your independent practice paper, you have to check out the choice board. I think that some people have forgotten about this board. It says choice board, but there is a must-do choice every day on this board, and that must do choice is extra math. So you must do extra math every day. Then there's the same 3 choices that were for Friday. A lot of people in person didn't get to any of these choices. And so I want to give you one more day to do that. Okay, so after you finish extra math, you may do Moose math. You may watch this video about the evolution of money, or you may design your own coin if you haven't done that. That's also a paper that I sent home. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I want to know whether this is going well, not going well. I'll check in with you during our small groups this week. All right, get going.